Cowboys' hopes of a 5th straight appearance in Omaha. It's the Battle of Oklahoma. It's power versus power. It's number 2 Oklahoma versus number 10 Oklahoma State. ESPN, the Total Sports Network, presents Sunday Night College Baseball. Live from Alley P. Reynolds Stadium in Stillwater, Oklahoma. It's the Oklahoma Sooners with a 23-1 record and the nation's number 2 ranking against the Oklahoma State Cowboys, winners of 4 straight Big 8 and Midwest Regional Championships. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Stillwater, Oklahoma. The Cowboy fans are some pumped up. 55 degrees. That temperature, though, a bit deceiving. It could get much colder as the evening progresses. Hello, I'm Tim Brando, joined by Jim Price. And certainly, Jim, Oklahoma off to a fantastic start. Here, after 24 games, they've only lost once.
Well, they really are. I tell you, talking with the coach of Oklahoma, he tells me that they're not only getting good pitching, great defense, and timely hitting. But in an earlier game today, they hit 8 home runs to blast the Cowboys. So they've got it all going for them. Should be quite a ball game.
Certainly they have had outstanding pitching as well. So the whole package has come up for Enos Seymour. Now in his 18th year, he took time to talk about this great start for his Sooners.
Well, I think we'd have to say the key has been our pitching staff, because we've gotten excellent pitching this year and we played very good defense. We haven't played well every ball game that we've played, but we have played a lot of great ball games. But the big key is the pitching staff.
Certainly, indeed, it has been pitching that's been the key, holding the opposition to a batting average of 174, Jim.
Well, that is incredible. Anytime you have good pitchers like this in college baseball, especially as many as the Sooners have, you're going to be right up near the national rankings. And this young man tonight might be the best pitching prospect in the country, Bobby Witt.
Now, traditionally, the Oklahoma State Cowboys, a team that can really put some runs on the scoreboard. They've certainly been lighting it up of late, and certainly with a guy like Incaviglia, you expect that and then some.
Well, we at ESPN have gotten to know the Cowboys very well with all their appearances at the College World Series, and Pete Incaviglia is a young man, 3rd year now here in Cowboy Country, 3rd-time All-American. He might be the strongest physically baseball college hitter I have ever seen.
Pete Incaviglia, a guy that has certainly become a star pupil. They've compared him even to Bob Horner, who of course played in Arizona. He is the total offensive firepower of this Oklahoma State team. 1-2, fastball hit deep to right field, and that ball is over the head of the right fielder, Herman. 1 run is in. Day is being waved around third. Here comes the relay. Day will score. Oklahoma State wins.
I like to have the men on base. I get excited when there's people on base, and you know that's what I'm here to do, and that's what I want to do. I want to be in the pressure spot because that's where I like to be.
Pete's an incessant worker. I've never had a youngster with this kind of talent have these kind of work habits. He has worked so hard day in and day out with his strokes that he's eliminated most of the holes. Most big college hitters with the aluminum bat can be pitched to carefully in certain areas and be pitched around or gotten out. Pete will adjust to you not only day to day, but he'll adjust to you at bat to at bat. And it's basically because he has outstanding work habits. He reminds you an awful lot of a Bob Horner. He is prepared to go out and play. I think the type of ball club that drafts him and puts him in a park that fits his skills is more important than anything else. If Pete gets in a park that suits his hitting style, he can be a dominant type offensive force as a major league hitter. He's the very best I've seen in college baseball.
Gary Ward is one of those coaches that loves to think of himself as a mechanics man, a teacher, and in that case, his star pupil is Pete Incaviglia.
Well, I'll tell you, I think tonight we're going to see 4 or 5 times the confrontation of the college baseball season so far. You remember Welch in the World Series against Reggie Jackson, Bobby Witt, Pete Incaviglia. That's what it's all about.
All right, it is power versus power. The Sooners against the Cowboys upcoming. ESPN Sunday Night College Baseball is brought to you by Easy Painter, the company that brought you the one-coat paint applicator and now the new Easy Roller automatic paint roller. And by Lee Filter, maker of the incredible two-stage Lee Maxi Filter.
Billy Margolis hated to paint. Then he found Easy Roller, the roller that feeds itself automatically. Now Billy paints a room in no time. No messy pans. He just fills the Easy Roller tank once in a while and keeps on rolling. Room after room. It's fast and it's easy.
Hey, Mitch. Mitch, do you have a room I could paint? Huh?
New Easy Roller by Easy Painter. It might make painting fun.
A Lee close-up. There's a menace in your motor oil. Dirt you can't see. Micro grit. Today's engines are smaller, harder working. Micro grit is leaving its mark, scratching, grinding away. The unique Lee two-stage traps the dirt you can't see. It's designed for today's smaller, harder working engines. For clean oil. Lee two-stage Maxi Filter. It traps micro grit.
The Sooners are coached by Eno Seymour, now in his 18th year, and leading off for Oklahoma at shortstop will be Greg Edge. He's only been thrown out attempting to steal one time so far this year. Batting second, Scott Ferguson, hitting .344, the senior from Redondo Beach. Jim Richardson will hit third and play third base, a junior from Marlow, Oklahoma. Rusty McGinnis, who's been on a tear, 22 of his last 39 at-bats, hits cleanup. Jeff Kay will bat fifth, the 6-foot junior from Arcadia, California. John Toll will hit sixth and play second base. He's from Staten Island, New York. Joe Jordan will hit seventh, a 6'4", 215-pounder from Blanchard, Oklahoma. Andy Franks will hit eighth. He too from Oklahoma, out of Tulsa. And rounding out the batting order, Kevin Pearson hitting .271 from Muskogee, Oklahoma. And here's the defensive setup. Jimmy Barrigan will be at first base for Oklahoma State. Sergio Espinal will play second base. At shortstop will be Randy Whistler. Kevin Fowler will play third for the Cowboys tonight. Incavilio will be in left field. Doug DeCenzo in center field. Billy Smith will play right field for Gary Ward's club tonight. Mike Day behind the plate. He was the designated hitter earlier this afternoon. And on the mound, Mike Trapasso. There you see his record, ERA up a bit high. Here's what Gary Ward had to say about Mike Trapasso, the left-hander on the hill for Oklahoma State.
Mike Trapasso is a location-type pitcher. He needs a scouting report. He needs to have an idea as to what hitters' weaknesses are, because he has to locate. He also is what we call a split-rhythm pitcher. Fastball is good and solid. He locates it, and he throws a very slow curveball. He works off of the curveball to set pace, must throw the curveball for strikes to be effective.
So that's Gary Ward in his comments. It's a 1-1 count to Greg Edge, the leadoff hitter for Oklahoma. Edge hitting .353. 1 home run and 11 RBIs. Got aboard a couple of times today to start some big innings for Oklahoma. The 1-1 pitch is up high for a ball, and it's a 2-1 count.
Tim, the other thing that's important for Trapasso, mentally, you know, he was a relief pitcher the last couple years. Now, mentally, he's got to get over the fact that he's not coming out of the bullpen, that he's starting the game. This is where he's got to improve in also.
The count is now out to 2-2 to Edge. Boy, the crowd has grown a great deal just at the outset of this game. LAP Reynolds Stadium was only about half full until about 20 minutes ago. They're braving the weather tonight. The 2-2 pitch is fouled off the first base side. Here are the umpires for tonight's game. Tim Norman will be behind the plate. Steve Knight will be down the first base line. and Tom Wright at second base. Andy Eves will be along the third base line. The 2-2 pitch. So the count is run to full. Something that Gary Ward, I'm certain, is hoping for is that Trapasso does not have to make a great number of pitches in the early inning. Into center field, and DeCenzo will make the grab on the run, and there's one gone. One out in the top of the first inning for the Sooners. The first base coach is Boulander, and on the third base side, Bill Springman. Mike Boulanger on first base, and Bill Springman on the third base side for Oklahoma. One away, and Scott Ferguson, the hitter. Trapasso opening up with some hard stuff, and it's an 0-1 count. The crowd is on its feet as Trapasso right now, a finesse pitcher, getting the ball where he wants it. Ferguson hitting .344 with 4 homers and 17 RBIs. We have one out. We're in the top of the first inning. No score. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. We're happy you joined us for it here on ESPN. Struck him out. Curveball on the outside corner at the knees, and there are 2 gone.
Well, the thing that Trapasso has to do tonight, and that is get ahead of the hitter, is a high leg kick and really follows through well. That particular pitch was a fastball, Tim. It was not a breaking ball on the outside part of the plate, and he caught him looking.
Jim Richardson now hitting .372 stands in. The off-speed stop, and it's an 0-1 count.
That's what he has to do, especially against a hard-hitting team like the Oklahoma Sooners. He's got to keep them off balance, you know, and he pitches the batter's weaknesses real well, and he's got to do it tonight.
Right now, he is getting out at a great pace.
Yeah, that's what we call pitcher's pitches, Tim. You got to give him those pitches till you get 2 strikes on him.
The 0-2 is nubbed foul on the first base side, and the count will hold at 0-2. 2 down in the top of the first inning. Today, Oklahoma had 8 home runs, 3 of them by Rusty McGinnis, who is the on-deck hitter. And in the game, there were 10 total home runs. 29 runs were scored. And in tandem, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State were within 2 home runs of the all-time NCAA record of 12 in one game. They'll have to make the throw, and Day does, and that'll do it. Up and down in order. Oklahoma in the top half of the first. No runs, no hits, no errors. At the end of a half inning, it's Oklahoma nothing, and Oklahoma State coming to bat. The Oklahoma Sooners with an outstanding pitching staff, and certainly you will see their ace tonight in Bobby Witt. But look at this.
I tell you, they are incredible stats when you look at that, because they have played some good competition, including the University of Texas. You look at those runs per game, that is unbelievable. And of course, you know, the hits per game, 4.5, and what a low batting average. In college baseball, that is phenomenal. Anytime you have that type of pitching, I don't care what league you're in, Tim, you're going to be up there near the top.
There you see the batting order as Bobby Witt warms up. He'll be facing Doug DeCenzo, who will lead it off in center field. Randy Whistler playing shortstop will bat second. Mike Day, the catcher, hitting third. Pete Incaviglia, everyone's All-American, hitting cleanup and playing left field. Billy Smith will hit 5th. Jimmy Barrigan, an upstart that Gary Ward is very high on, will hit 6th. Carlos Diaz, the designated hitter, hits 7th. Kevin Fowler, the third baseman, will hit 8th. And Sergio Espinal will hit 9th. Looking at Oklahoma defensively at first base is Rusty McGinnis, who had the 3 round trippers today. John Toll will play second base for Enos Seymour's club. Greg Edge will be at shortstop. Jim Richardson will be at third base for the Sooners. Andy Franks will be in left field. Scott Ferguson will be in center for Oklahoma. And Kevin Pearson will be in right field. Behind the plate will be Jeff Kay, also a designated hitter earlier in the day, and Bob Witt on the hill for Oklahoma. And Enos Seymour, his coach, had some comments about Bob Witt, who could be the #1 pick in the upcoming Major League Draft.
For Bobby Witt to be effective, he has to throw strikes. Of course, have his good stuff, his good fastball and his good slider, especially getting the slider in to go with his fastball. If he does, it makes it a lot tougher on hitters. He has a good fastball, has good movement, but if he doesn't get his slider in, good hitters like Oklahoma State can sit there and look for the fastball, and they can hurt him.
Well, the only way to beat a man like this, Tim, is really to hit his mistakes. And Coach Seymour said it the right way. He's just got to throw strikes.
DeCenzo leads off and looks at a strike, and it's 0-1. Doug DeCenzo. And he's a guy you don't want on base if you're Oklahoma. He has set all kinds of records in stolen bases.
Well, he's got outstanding speed and very good bat control. He's the one really makes this offense go. He knows he's got some thunder up coming up right behind him.
5'8" junior from Hiller, Pennsylvania, takes a ball low, and it's a 2-1 count. There was some concern, Jim, from Enos Seymour about Witt throwing in cooler weather as the night progresses. He's concerned that he might stiffen up. Grounder over to Edge, and the throw in time to McGinnis, and there's one gone.
Well, I can understand that. I think a fellow like Witt, who is a power pitcher, and actually they tell me he gets stronger usually in warm weather the longer the game gets, as compared to Trapezo. As we take a look at the ballpark dimensions here at Allie P. Reynolds Stadium, it's a good hitter's ballpark, I should add. The ball jumps out of here pretty well. Tonight it shouldn't jump out as well because it has cooled off. But I think we'll have to watch Witt closely, because being a power pitcher, it's tougher on them to get loose in cold weather.
Randy Whistler looks at a strike over the inside portion of the plate. It's an 0-1 count. Hitting .305 on the year. Just one home run, but 26 RBIs. That should tell you that DeCenzo has been getting on base for him quite a bit. Has been able to hit for extra bases. Likes to go to the power alleys. And the count is now 1-1.
We'll watch Witt as this game goes on. I am told he has a slider like Bob Gibson used to have. I tell you, if he's got one like Gibby used to have, he has a great slider.
The count is now 1-2, and there's a look at Dave Holliday, one of two Holidays on this Cowboys staff. He's coaching first, and Gary Ward, thought by many to be one of the outstanding third base coaches in baseball. Certainly, as head coach, if he wants to be the third base coach, it's by his choosing.
That's right. He's the head man.
The 1-2 is driven into left center field for a base hit. Randy Whistler with some textbook hitting, taking the outside pitch and driving it into left center for the single.
Well, that was a fastball up in the inside part of the plate, and he just turned it around with a good, short, quick stroke. That's what Coach Gary Ward teaches here at Oklahoma State. You all see they swing the bat basically alike. Short, quick strokes. When you throw as fast as Witt, you've got to be quick.
Mike Day, the catcher, stands in, hitting .253, 3 home runs and 23 RBIs. With Whistler aboard and with a pretty good lead. Pitch is down low for a ball. It's 1-0. We should mention that Whistler is the second leading base stealer for the Cowboys.
Well, those two first people in their lineup really have a job to do. They know their function on the team, and Gary Ward teaches these type of position hitters on his ball club. Now, early in a game like this, Tim, a power pitcher, if he is going to have some trouble, it will be earlier in the game, in my opinion, until he gets real loose. It might take him a little bit longer, and if he settles in, watch out then.
Witt wanted that one. He didn't get it, and it's a 3-0 count.
Well, he has such a live fastball. It's going to take the umpire a little bit to adjust to him. This pitch here looks like it's inside, but watch it swing back over the plate. See where the catcher caught the ball? That's a live moving fastball. Well, you know what? Sometimes the umpires make up for the calls they make.
I'm glad you said that.
Well, there's no doubt about that. That happens sometimes. That's part of the game.
3 balls and a strike. Whistler aboard on first base. And the pitch hit right back at Witt. He doesn't know where it is. He'll have to go to first and does get the out. Witt got in the way of a base hit that time for Mike Day. And great awareness by Witt. I believe he got the cue call from his catcher. I'm pretty certain that his catcher, Jeff Kay, told him, hey, that's where it is. Go for it.
Well, Day just turned around another fastball right back through the middle. That's what we call self-defense. It's difficult to tell from that angle if it hit his chest or any part of his arm or just hit his glove. He looks like he's all right, and you're right, Tim. It is the catcher's job then to let the pitcher know where the ball went. They were able to get Day out at first base, but 2 hard hit balls in a row now off this young pitcher.
Whistler at second with a modest lead, and Incaviglia stands in. Breaking ball missing outside. It's 1-0.
This is what we talked about in the pregame, the big confrontation. This is one man I would never let beat me, Pete Incaviglia. I wouldn't give him anything to hit with men in scoring position.
Ron Maestri at the University of New Orleans still has nightmares about what Incaviglia did to him in Omaha. As you see him waving at one, and it's a 1-1 count.
That was not the compound swing that I talk about that Gary Ward teaches here. He was trying to hit one for all the folks back home in Pebble Beach and everybody on ESPN watching.
He hit a mammoth drive, a tape measured job earlier today in the 21-8 loss. That's right, I did say 21-8. Oklahoma with a bevy of runs early on. They got out to a 6-0 lead and never looked back.
His last 3 home runs that he has hit have been tape measure jobs. When he hits them, there's no doubt about it. There's a softball field out over the left field fence here. That one over the left field fence in the softball field.
2 balls and a strike, 2 outs, 1 on. We're in the bottom half of the first, no score. Incaviglia didn't pull the trigger, and it's a 3-1 count.
Well, that's what you have to do. He took a little bit off the breaking ball. Now it's 3-1. No way do you want to come in with anything in the inside part of the plate.
Incaviglia's brother Tony is with San Diego, and his dad played in the Brooklyn Dodger organization. So he got it honestly, his talents at the plate.
Well, nobody has worked harder than Pete Incaviglia here at Oklahoma State. He is a real student of the game and has really progressed tremendously here.
He and Gary Ward have their own hitting glossary. The ball down low is taken, and Incaviglia is aboard.
That's what you call the unintentional, intentional pass, Tim.
Don't let him beat you. That's what you said.
Absolutely. You got to keep it down. It's a breaking ball. He was going to make him go fishing. No way can you give him something to hit with men in scoring position. He's Mr. Clutch.
Billy Smith stands in, the right fielder. So many times you think, well, you pitch around Incaviglia, then you get his .338 batting average staring you in the face.
Well, they just keep coming at you. The games we've done through the years in Omaha, Nebraska, I would say Oklahoma State year in and year out, all the way through their lineup, probably has the strongest hitting lineup year in and year out. No weak spots.
0-1 the count, 2 out, 2 on. Whistler at second, Incaviglia at first. And it's a 1-1 count.
Witt still trying to get his rhythm on the mound. Cool night here in Stillwater.
Unlimited potential for Bobby Witt. All the scouts are high on him. There's a drive down the right field line. Whistler will try to make it. The throw not in time. Witt backing up the throw at home. And so the runners will stay at first and third. Whistler scores on the hit by Billy Smith into right field. And it's 1-0 Oklahoma State.
Well, what can you say with a man in scoring position? A low fastball out over the plate. Smith went with it and absolutely drilled it perfectly into right field. This is, again, is that good moving fastball that we talk about. Low and away, he goes down and gets it. See how he kept his head behind the ball, didn't pull away. and by the time it got to the right fielder, got it back in, he made a bad throw, but there was no chance to get the runner at home plate. And of course, Witt backing up like he should on that play.
Otherwise, Ingavilia would have scored, and there would have been 2 across for the Cowboys.
This game has been an interesting contrast, Tim, to previous games that Oklahoma State has played. They got the Sooners out 1-2-3, which is unusual for them, and now them scoring in the first inning is very unusual from what they've done so far this year.
Yeah, they've been behind in almost every game, even those that they've been able to come back and win. Now they're going to challenge at third base and appeal, and it will come up empty.
I've seen that play appealed, I bet you 1,000 times, and I don't think I've ever seen one where a team has won, except maybe on a sacrifice fly once or twice.
Whistler slipped when he came around third. Perhaps that's why Oklahoma thought they'd take the chance and appeal at third base.
Doesn't hurt to try.
Jimmy Berrigan standing in.
I will say this, the intensity on the Oklahoma State dugout is 500 times greater than it was this afternoon. They are really up for this game.
Berrigan still waiting for his first pitch as Smith again is checked by Witt. Berrigan, just a sophomore from San Diego, California, and stepping into some big shoes at first base. They're used to having great hitting at that position. Once again, Witt taking a good long look at Billy Smith. Only 6 stolen bases this year for him.
Well, this young hitter, Tim, you're talking about his youth. He's a type of player that Coach Gary Ward likes to get. He's got a good short, quick stroke, quick hands. Now, through Gary's system, you'll see him improve year in and year out.
There's a tape measure job in the left center field. It's taken on the run and then dropped. It's dropped by Franks in left field. Coming in to score is Smith. So all of the runs come around on the double. That one died in left center field. It looked as if Berrigan had the home run, but it did not go through. Enos Seymour now will go out to challenge the call by the third base umpire, saying that Andy Franks had it for a long time.
Well, I'll tell you, Berrigan looked like he hit it well enough to get out of here, but we mentioned it's cool tonight. Now let's watch Franks as he catches the ball. He catches it, hits the wall, then it drops out. Boy, that's a questionable call. The umpire was out there and plenty of time to see how long he kept the ball. Watch the reaction now of the runner on third. There you can see Ingavilia. He knows that he dropped the ball. He's signaling for his guys to hustle in home, and that's just what happened.
Enos Seymour still out discussing the issue, now making his way back in.
Well, Franks had the ball, there's no doubt about that, but then when he hit up against the fence, it looked like he bounced off the fence, then the ball bounced out down around his kneecap, and the umpire said he didn't have it long enough. Big break for the Cowboys.
Carlos Diaz stands in. Diaz had a home run, a 2-run shot in the front half of today's day-night doubleheader here in Stillwater, and he looks at the ball, 1-0. 4 home runs on the year with 21 RBI. A double for Berrigan is how it's ruled, and 2 runs scored. Our score is now 3-0. It's been a while since Witt has had this kind of damage, and we say damage because the balls have been really hit sharply by the Cowboys here in the first. There are at least 6 scouts representing major league teams that are here to look at all of this talent. There's a pitch that gets away from Kay. The throw is not in time. Berrigan over to third base. That will be ruled a wild pitch. Pretty good job by Kay staying in front of it. Had a chance.
Well, it was a good play. He kept the ball in front of him, bounced on it, and actually made a good throw into third base. It's right on the money, but the runner sliding in just ahead of the throw. I like to see that. I think it's important when a ball bounces away like that, make your move.
Diaz with a grounder to second baseman John Toole. And that will do it for Oklahoma State. But they do come up with 3 runs on 3 hits. There were no errors, and at the end of 1, the Oklahoma State Cowboys lead Oklahoma 3-0 here in Stillwater.
Now, the home gym that treats your body to a 9-station workout. Trim Track. Durable, no-nonsense construction. Yet Trim Track can be yours on this special TV offer for just $39.95. It's a rowing machine. Perfect exercise for flattening the tummy. And you'll love quality touches like the padded seat and smooth as silk track action. The padded footlock is perfect for sit-ups. Gives you a trim, tight waistline. Hop on your knees for arm curls. Does miracles for arms and neck and chin. Trim Track. It's the fast track to the slender, younger figure you've been dreaming of. Just $39.95. Have your credit card ready and call now. Here's how to order.
To order, call 800-228-6333 or send $39.95 plus $5 shipping and handling to Trim Track, Box 9931, Canton, Ohio. Or have your credit card ready and call 800-228-6333.
This is a fly ball that Andy Franks caught and then hit the wall, and the ball bounced out. Now, there is no set rule that says once you hit the ball and the ball bounces out that the runner is automatically out. What happens, it's a judgment call by the umpire. It's up to him, the closest umpire to the play, his discretion on how long he felt the outfielder had the ball. So it's strictly a judgment call by the umpire, and Coach Gary Ward agreed with the umpire that he did not have it long enough.
Gary Ward, formerly a basketball assistant coach. There you see he's led them to 4 straight College World Series. In fact, there was a time in 1973 when Ward pondered the idea of being an assistant coach to Eddie Sutton at Arkansas.
Real student of the game of basketball and, of course, the game of baseball. You talk things about baseball with him, and you go away with your head spinning.
You're right.
I've heard things from Gary through the years, scientific information about playing this game that I never heard before, and obviously it has helped his kids here at Oklahoma State.
If you're wondering who got that job under Arkansas, it was Gene Cady, of course, now at Purdue. So his first pitch, the dirt for ball 1.
This is a young man that had quite a game earlier in the day. He hit balls out of here like rocket shots. Ball just missed inside. For Trapasso to be effective, he's got to get his breaking ball over. And this Sooner Ball Club is a good fastball hitting team. Just missed outside for another ball. 3 balls, 1 strike. Now it's 3-1. Fastball right down the pipe. Good looking hitter. About 6'4", 220 pounds. Rusty McGinnis, Edmond, Oklahoma. Gets that one to the ground to shortstop. Easy play coming into the ball, no doubt about it. 1 up, 1 down. Whistler, you may remember, played second base last year. In fact, for the last 2 years here at Oklahoma State, he was their second baseman and a good one. Of course, Gary Green, the All-American shortstop, has since graduated, playing in the San Diego organization. Jeff Kay batting .288. Another fine-looking Sooner hitter. 1 for 4 earlier today, and one was one of those home runs. Again, Trapasso jumps out in front. 1 strike, no ball. Off speed, 1-1. He's a crafty left-hander, the type of pitcher that give you that comfortable 0 for 4. You want to get up there and bat against him, but he moves the ball around. He's a spot pitcher, and he pitches to batters' weaknesses as well as anybody that Gary Ward has had here at Oklahoma State. And they need him because they do not have much experience on their pitching staff. They have some good arms, but they need his strong experience. See what happens when you show him that off-speed pitch and you pump up and you fire it by him? 2 strikes, 1 ball, right by the hitter. Pulled the string on that one, 2-2. Counts 2-2. Stillwater, Oklahoma, Allie P. Reynolds Stadium, a beautiful ballpark and a crisp night. That was that slider down and in. Everybody here at the ballpark on the Oklahoma State side thought that was a strike, including Trapasso. The slider breaks out across the plate. The umpire thought it got inside a little bit too much. 2 and 3, full count. Ball 4, it gets away from it. One out, runner on first. John Toll batting .300, 2 home runs and 10 RBIs. Fastball gets away from him. This young man led the Sooner Club in hitting last year with a .440 average. Testing. Swing and foul back. Count evens out at 1-1.
All right, Jim, I think I'm back.
Hey, where you been? Did you go out to have a little sandwich or something,
I
Tim?
figured I'd have a hot dog. My first time to work with you, I figured, well, let's see what if the guy can carry me for an inning or 2 here. 1 ball and 1 strike with 1 out. We're in the 2nd inning. And I'm back to work. The pitch is outside for a ball, and it's 2-1 now to John Toll.
As this game progresses, you'll notice that Trapasso, as he mixes up his off-speed pitches, then when he pumps up and throws that fastball, he's probably only throwing in the low 80s, but it looks that much quicker.
He has certainly been around the plate, at least in the 1st inning and a 3rd. Of course, we have a long way to go. But Trapasso last year in cool weather, and we're not saying that it's cold here tonight, but it's certainly cool, down in the 40s. And a year ago, he had an outstanding performance, according to his pitching coach, Tom Holliday, in the cool weather. So he likes pitching in the breeze, although he does give up another base on ball.
Well, you can't afford to do that, especially a pitcher like Mike Trapasso. I mentioned earlier he was a reliever the last couple of years. Now he's a starter. And with that experience coming out of the bullpen, you have to have good control. But so far, he has had a control problem starting ball games. I think part of it is mental. I really believe that.
That's pretty much been the story for the entire Oklahoma State staff early on this year, as Joe Jordan stands in. 2 for 5 earlier today with a couple of home runs. And you can tell that certainly this club has got all kinds of power up and down the lineup. When you look at Jordan, who had a home run earlier today, they can really hit the long ball up and down the lineup. That's the case for Oklahoma, and the same goes for Oklahoma State. They all have that potential, whether they have the numbers on the year or not. They have that capability. The count is 1-1 now to Joe Jordan, the designated hitter.
Well, I'll tell you something else. This ballpark, I got down at ground home plate and I looked out, and it's deceiving. even though I think it's a good hitter's ballpark, the fences even look that much closer because of the high fence in the background.
Soft curveball is popped up into right field. Billy Smith is over, makes the catch. Kay moves up to third, and that puts runners at the corners with 2 gone. Andy Frank stands in. Frank's a transfer student from Texas Wesleyan, where a year ago he hit 3 home runs in this park.
And he hit 20 in other ballparks for 23. Quite a year.
Texas Wesleyan dropped its baseball program, and Franks sought refuge in Norman, Oklahoma.
Not a bad place to
Seek
take
refuge.
your fortunes to, is it?
That's right.
What a great program.
He does have power, although he has not exhibited it so far this year. He takes a strike, and it's a 1-2 count. Or check that, 1-1 with 2 out. Kay at third. Toll at first base. That one gets away from Day and will score the run. Jeff Kay scores. And it's now a 3-1 ball game.
Well, he took something off his breaking ball, and he took too much of it off, and it bounced too far out in front of the plate. Day unable to smother the ball and keep it in front of him. This is the breaking ball. Look how far in front of the plate it hits, and it bounces off of his glove. There's just no way he could get down quick enough to block that ball.
One and two, the count with 2 out. Top half of the second inning, Oklahoma State with a 3-1 lead. Fly ball into shallow left field, drifting back, or actually off the third base side, and it is taken by Kevin Fowler, and that will do it for Oklahoma State. No run, 1 run, no hits, and 1 left. Our score, Oklahoma State 3, Oklahoma 1. Coming up, Diaz, Fowler, and Espinal for the Cowboys.
Home communications is made simpler because QT&T put a telephone answering machine, a hands-free speakerphone, and a solid-state push-button telephone into the QT&T answer phone. This home communication center screens your calls with a pre-recorded message, records up to 60 messages, lets you have simultaneous group conversations, gives you push-button dialing on any phone system, and features a mute button and redial button. These components sold separately could cost over $300, but QT&T suggested retail price $139.95. But wait, save money when you buy direct from Urban General, only $79.95. And QT&T offers an optional 6-year warranty. No other phone company does that. Here's how to order.
To order the answer phone, call 1-800-331-1000 or send check or money order for $79.95 plus $5 shipping and handling to Answer Phone, P.O. Box 3500, Department A, West Caldwell, New Jersey 07006.
There's a look at the collegiate baseball poll. Miami on top with Oklahoma second, Stanford, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. Texas is 6th, followed by Pepperdine, Florida, Wichita State, and Oklahoma State. So the Cowboys are 10th. Fowler stands in. Kevin Fowler coming to the plate to start things for Oklahoma State. Oh for 4 against Oklahoma so far this year.
And this young man didn't have very far to go to college, Tim, a young man from Stillwater.
So far, this has not been at all the type of game that we anticipated, Jim, in as much as Witt being knocked around a bit.
Well, he could have had some help from the defense, but I have not seen that outstanding fastball that we had heard that he has, or the slider. He is not throwing velocity that he normally can. He's been timed up in the high 90s with his fastball and the high 80s with his slider. That's moving. And tonight, I'd have to say he's 5-6 miles an hour different so far in this ball game. But remember this, the Cowboys are a super fastball hitting club.
Fowler was drafted 7th out of high school in the 7th round, I should say, by the Red Sox. Looks at another strike, and it's an 0-2 count. They're probably right now, Jim, on the field for both clubs or in the dugout, cumulatively about 20 players that have been drafted at one time or another, either out of high school or out of college.
Well, speaks well for both programs and two super coaches. And I might add there's that breaking ball that we've been talking about, taking away from the fastball. He came back with the breaking ball there. He got a little break from the umpire, I think, but it was a super hard slider. Questionable.
Fowler,
he was gone. No way he could have hit that pitch.
He didn't believe it, did he?
Now that was the old Bob Gibson slider that I remember that struck out so many Detroit Tigers in the '68 World Series.
Sergio Espinal, who many said would not be a hitter, and he has suddenly become one. 2 for 4 today in the first game, a single, a triple, and 1 RBI, and up above 400. Not bad for your number 9 hitter.
Strong all the way through the lineup, Tim.
438 his batting average coming in, and another project of Gary Ward, Sergio Espinal.
Well, you will notice, and this young man is a perfect example, even though he didn't make contact there. You notice how they keep their bats in close to their body, and they all have short strokes. And against a fellow like Witt, you better shorten up and be there. You're that much quicker. You have better bat speed and quicker hands, and you're able to get around that much better.
Witt staying with his breaking ball, and the count now runs even to 2-2. 1 out here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Oklahoma State 3 runs on 3 hits. And there's a strike 3 call on the outside corner at the knees. And Witt has retired 2 in a row, and both of them have been caught looking.
And both of them have been with that slider that we've talked about so much. That was a beauty. That was a big league slider. I don't know many big leaguers that could have hit that one.
Witt has been timed tonight by the scouts at above 94 miles per hour with his fastball. That might not be his fastest.
Well, that all depends what they're timing him with, the radar gun or the jugs gun, because it does make a difference.
DeCenzo sends a foul ball up our way. 1 ball and 1 strike with 2 out. DeCenzo back in the first, grounded out to shortstop.
I'd like to know what type of gun they're using, because the jugs gun adds 3 or 4 to 5 miles an hour onto your pitch, and it doesn't look to me like Witt has his good stuff.
Well, he's been using his breaking ball for the most part here in the 2nd inning. But you're right, it is that slider that's his big pitch, isn't it?
Well, it has been so far tonight. Well, the thing that's nice about him, he doesn't look like he has to rear back and overthrow. He throws within himself, and the ball gets up there in a hurry.
He pitched 4 complete games last year and was 10-3, and DeCenzo is aboard. The 3-2 pitch was down low and inside. So DeCenzo aboard with 2 away.
And not a bad situation to make something happen by Coach Gary Ward. DeCenzo, a very good base runner with good speed, and you have a left-handed hitter at the plate, what makes it that much tougher on the catcher. Of course, if you send him, you do take that hole away from the hitter in first base.
Randy Whistler 1 for 1. He singled to center his first time. Looks at 1 up around the letters for ball 1, 1-0. Whistler, a senior from Klamath Falls, Oregon. Pitch is inside. DeCenzo on his way and has another stolen base. DeCenzo with his 30th stolen base of the year.
Well, he's just a fine base runner. He got a real good jump. The pitch was a tough throw for the catcher to handle because it was up and inside on the hitter. DeCenzo gets a good jump. The ball bounces down, but I don't think he'd have had him even if the throw was on the money, because he did get that real good jump.
And now Whistler with a hitter's pitch forthcoming. 2 balls and no strikes with 2 out.
And this pitch forces Witt to pitch to Whistler, because you know who's up next, the bomber.
The heart of the order is coming up, and Mike Day and Incaviglia. There's a fly ball, fisted foul down the left field line. And the count is now 2 balls and a strike.
There just isn't a soft touch in this lineup with first base open, 2 balls and 1 strike. Sometimes with 2 outs, you might put that runner on, but all the way through this Cowboy lineup, good hitters.
The 2-1 is down in the dirt, and Whistler was trying to hold up and then couldn't. Well, it's now 2-2.
He couldn't, Tim. That was that hard slider. It was out of the strike zone, but he couldn't stay off of it. Good job by the catcher. Remember also, DeCenzo will steal third base in this situation, so Witt has got to make him stop. He's not bashful out there.
The 2-2 pitch is up high. And with DeCenzo on second base, you know he can get a great jump. 2 out and a full count to Randy Whistler. Witt with another strikeout. He got them the easy way for his infield. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 2, it's 3-1 Oklahoma State.
I refinished this beautiful piece all by myself, and I can't even change a light bulb.
This chest turned out better than I ever imagined. It looks like a professional refinished it, but I did.
Formby's furniture refinisher can make a believer out of you because it works unlike anything you've ever seen. It dissolves old varnish lacquer shellac without stripping, sanding, or scraping. With my furniture refinisher, it's a pleasure to create a treasure.
Homer Formby. No one knows wood as good.
Many stores now have special values.
Saturday, ESPN brings you live third-round coverage of the Greater Greensboro Open. We'll follow the leaders from tee to green, live Saturday.
ESPN has plenty of sports spirit tomorrow. First, energy abounds at the 1985 National High School Cheerleading Championships. Then, Portland running back Buford Jordan hits high gear for a live USFL showdown with San Antonio. The cheering never stops tomorrow on ESPN.
Saturday, the doubleheader planned for Stillwater was rained out, so they shifted the series to a day-night doubleheader today and tonight, and then 2 more coming tomorrow. Oklahoma winning the first game by a score of 21-8. 8 home runs for Oklahoma. That's a new Sooner record.
Well, during the day here, the ball definitely travels a little bit better, and the wind was blowing out. And, you know, you put that with an inviting ballpark for the ball to go out of, and those good Sooner hitters, and you have that type of display, Tim.
Another nice crowd here in Stillwater, Oklahoma, urging on their Cowboys, and Gary Ward looking on, saying, let's make it happen, fellas.
Well, they had a packed house this afternoon, and I'd venture to say they have another one tonight.
Kevin Pearson will lead off, the right fielder for Oklahoma here in the top half of the 3rd inning. The Sooners trailing by a score of 3-1. Trapasso has been pretty much around the plate tonight, picking his spots. He's fallen behind a couple of times, but has been able to pretty much stay in command here. He's yet to give up a hit.
Well, this is what he can't afford to do, and that is fall behind, because you get behind these good Sooner hitters, and they can tie this ball game up in a hurry.
Pearson, a junior from Muskogee, Oklahoma. That one got away from Trapasso, and it's now 3 balls and no strikes.
We'd like to apologize to everybody for we're having some audio problems here, and it is our fault, not mistake of your set at home.
And we'll continue to try to work on it as Trapasso gives up a walk as Pearson is aboard. That brings up now the top of the order, and Greg Edge. Edge hitting .353 with a homer and 11 RBIs. He flied out his first time. DeCenzo made an excellent catch. Looking to move Pearson up. He takes the ball. 1-0.
Well, Trapasso has to find it. Falling behind like this, you know, putting a guy on with a base on balls is as good as a hit. You notice he went to his breaking ball. It shows the confidence that he has when he's behind in the count, but he missed again. 2 balls, no strikes, Timmy.
Pearson does have good speed, although he has not stolen a number of bases this year. Only 1 of 2 in his attempts as Edge looks at a strike, and it's now 2-1.
Well, in this situation, they're playing really for a bunt situation. The runner, the third baseman in tight because of Edge's good speed, and of course the first baseman holding runner on at first.
The 2-1 pitch is right on the corner. Trapasso's picking his spot there, and it's a 2-2 count.
He doesn't give in, does he?
He really doesn't. Always seemingly around the plate. He may miss, but not by a great deal, not by a wide margin. Edge with what could be a double play ball. They got it. That one was tailor-made. That's a pitcher's dream, and the pitcher got the opportunity to get the double play started that time.
Well, it is, as we all know, the pitcher's best friend, and that was just a routine one-hopper right back to the pitcher. He got it over to the shortstop covering second, and Edge dove head first, but he was a dead duck. We noticed when the runner left the field there that the runner went into second base like he jammed his arm maybe a little bit, Tim. We'll have to follow up on that.
That was Edge diving in. 2 gone now, and the bases are empty. The foul ball headed for Price. Jim didn't have to make the catch, though.
Another era. I'd say it is a beautiful facility here. A little chilly out here tonight, but we're in a super press box. It's warm. They're giving us some hot dogs and soft drinks, and the fans are all having a good time. Very good atmosphere in Stillwater.
Scott Ferguson looking at a 1-1 pitch coming up here.
I mentioned earlier about the attendance, Tim, over 3,000 here tonight on really a cool night.
They could have easily stayed at home, and they chose to come out here and weather the weather. And it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Is this Candlestick Park?
They're suffering a little bit. We're nice and warm.
3 balls and a strike. Trapasso again getting behind early.
Very unusual. Like I said, the good experience he had the last couple years out of the bullpen, he threw strikes. This year, mentally, it's just different. And don't forget, he's starting the game. He's not coming in picking up for somebody else. So until he gets over that hump, he's going to struggle a little bit. Hopefully he can turn it around.
Fly ball down the right field line, twisting foul, but hit about 330 feet by Scott Ferguson, and that got the attention of the Oklahoma State crowd.
Well, Scott Ferguson's a good hitter. He hit 346 last year, so, and he's an intelligent ball player. You notice how he went with that pitch? He hits the ball to all fields, makes him that much of a better hitter.
Senior from Redondo Beach, California, Scott Ferguson. Transferred over to Oklahoma from Los Angeles Harbor College in Wilmington, California. And he's aboard. So once again, Trapasso falling behind and unable to come back. So Richardson's aboard, and that makes that double play look even bigger. Jim Richardson now comes up. Richardson looked to call strike 3 in his first time. We mentioned that this is the kind of night when it's cool like this, Jim, that it sometimes is difficult for a pitcher to get loose. It's also tough on a hitter.
Well, I can vouch for that. You don't want to get jammed on a night like this.
Pitches inside for a ball, and it's 2-0.
Actually, I think it's tougher on the hitters than it is on the pitchers, because mechanically you have to do so many things just right, and they have that ball, and you're up there guessing where they're going to throw it and what they're going to throw. So, you know, being an old catcher, there's no doubt they have the advantage.
You got to believe, though, with the aluminum bat, it wouldn't hurt quite as much if you hit the ball in the wrong spot.
No, that's true, but I have used the aluminum bat at my fantasy camps that I run down in Lakeland, Florida with old Detroit Tigers and so forth, and if you don't hit it right, you can feel it also with the aluminum bat.
2 balls and a strike to Jim Richardson. Trapasso with some unexpected speed. Richardson unable to get around on the fast one, and it's 2-2.
Well, when his fastball's up, it looks like he has a little more movement. Looks like it takes off a little bit. When he's down, it looks like it tails away.
Richardson was not supposed to be the third baseman this year. Jay Searcy was, but Searcy had enough of baseball, and with 1 year of eligibility remaining, chose to leave the game, and Richardson has filled in adequately.
And he was a prospect, I understand. He just, Coach Seymour said he just didn't want to play baseball anymore. Transferred to University of Texas.
And he is not playing baseball there, we should add. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And Trapasso thought he had a strikeout there. He was coming off the mound, didn't get the call he wanted. And Richardson's aboard. So runners now at second and first with 2 out. And here comes Rusty McGinnis. This is not the guy you want up in this situation.
Especially if you're for Oklahoma State. Because this young man, all he did today was hit them out all over the place. 3 of them. There's only one way to play this young man, that's deep. And I don't think the outfielders can get back any further.
They're swung around for the pull just slightly. 0-1 the count.
And that's what you want to throw a power hitter like this. He's up there with one thing in mind. He's looking for a fastball he can jerk out of here. Trapasso crossed him up, started him off with a breaking ball.
We mentioned earlier he was hot of late. 22 for his last 40 at-bats. And during that time, he's also hit 5 home runs. 3 of them coming earlier today.
It'll be interesting to watch the rest of this pitching sequence. He started him off with a breaking ball, came back with a fastball. I think he just wanted to show him that pitch. See if he comes back with a breaking ball or something out of the strike zone. Threw it right by him, Tim.
The high, hard one. And McGinnis had illusions of grandeur with the swing.
I think Trapasso reached back and got a little more that he didn't know he had. Sometimes big games like this can do that.
McGinnis has 3 home runs today. Puts him in a category where only 3 other players have picked up 3 home runs in a single game in Oklahoma Sooner history. The runners are going, and the double steal has been accomplished. As you see, Ferguson.
That's a mental mistake, not only by the pitcher, but also the infielders. It's the shortstop and second baseman's job to keep that runner at second base, to keep him from getting that type of jump. There was no chance for Day to throw anybody out. Mental mistake.
Scott Ferguson at third, Jim Richardson at second. Both of them walked. And the pitch is a call, strike 3. Clutch pitching once again by Trapasso. No runs, no hits, no errors. 2 left at the end of 2.5. Oklahoma State leading 3-1.
Just finished my first day.
Could be a 3-time All-American going into this season. He has set just about every record that you can. And you talk about power packed. I played with a fella in Detroit by the name of Willie Horton. and built just like Pete and just as strong as Willie was. And Willie can still hit that ball. He's a minor league batting coach with the Detroit Tigers. But Pete Ingavilla has that type of strength. I want him on my side, I'll tell you that much.
He is due up this inning along with Mike Day.
You know how many times you've heard your daddy and your coach tell you, keep the ball down? Look where this pitch is for the last pitch of the last inning, knee high, no chance for the hitter to hit it. So when your father and your coach says, keep the ball down, you see what they're talking about, youngsters.
Mike Day grounded out his first time. 0 for 1 tonight.
You know, last year, Pete Ingavilla had 102 RBIs. Day scored 40 times in front of him. You say he knows his job?
He was circling third in Omaha, Nebraska. You got dizzy last year at the College World Series.
Isn't that the truth? Well, he had a great series day. He really looked good in that series.
Not a great deal of speed on the bases, but certainly he puts himself in the position to get around with relative ease with his extra base hits.
Well, let me tell you something. You squat back there for about 3 hours every day and do about 4,000 deep minutes a day. See how fast you are.
Listen, in high school, the only reason I wasn't the slowest was because we had a catcher.
I'll talk to you after the
If
game.
I'd been going up against the backstop, it would have been different. 2-1 the count to Mike Day. Oklahoma State with 3 runs on 3 hits. They got them in the first inning. As Witt was stunned a bit. There's a chopper to short. Day will not beat the throw in time from Greg Edge, and there's one away.
Well, Witt has seemed to settle down after that tough first inning and seems to have found his rhythm. He has gone more to the breaking pitch. And, you know, just because you're a flamethrower doesn't mean you can't rely on that breaking ball. That has turned it around for Bobby Witt.
Incaviglia taking a strike, and it's 0-1. Incaviglia looking for his first official at-bat, having walked his first time.
If you're going to pitch inside to Pete, you've got to go way inside.
Fooled him that time, and it's now 0-2.
Well, that has been his big pitch, taken a little bit off the slider.
If there's one major criticism of Incaviglia, it is his fielding. And many scouts say that he'll have to work hard on that as he makes the transition into the professional ranks.
But I can guarantee you this, he will work hard. Nobody has ever worked harder than this young man in college baseball. He will become an adequate outfielder. Remember Kurt Gibson when he first started with Detroit.
In defense of him, they have moved him around a little bit. He played right field last year. They've since moved him over to left field, and Billy Smith has been placed into the lineup in the right field slot. Boy, Witt got the better of that one.
Well, he really did. He's won confrontation number 1. High fastball up and in, and when his fastball is up, it really takes off. Bobby Witt, probably about 94 miles an hour. He gets everything behind it. Pete just swung underneath it, overmatched that time.
Billy Smith looking at a ball, and it's 1-0. Smith with a single and an RBI in the first inning. Witt's got his stuff now, you can tell.
Well, that's that good moving fastball, just ate him up.
The good pitchers are the ones that find the groove early and then can withstand the middle innings. So far, Witt has been shouldering the brunt of responsibility well for
I think it's more than that, Tim. I think the good pitchers can go out there and pitch when they don't have their good stuff and win. And Bobby Witt is like that.
3 balls and a strike, 2 outs. In the bottom half of the third inning, the Oklahoma State Cowboys ranked 10th in the country leading Oklahoma by a score of 3-1 here on ESPN. Smith in the gap, right center field. Goodbye. You have to wonder now, if after the strikeout of Incaviglia, Witt got a little overconfident.
Well, that was a fastball out over the plate, and he just went with it. It was a good piece of hitting. The fences here not taking anything away from the home run, but you put the diamond baseball up against the aluminum bat, and the fences here in Stillwater, and you have that type of home run. That just made it over the fence. That was right in his wheelhouse, and he sent it out of here over the right field fence. You could just see it clearing just over the top of the fence. Good piece of hitting.
Jimmy Berrigan stands in. It's now 4-1 after the solo shot by Smith.
You can't let up against a power-laden team like the Cowboys.
That was the 4th home run of the year for Smith. Berrigan doubled and drove in a couple of runs last time. He's the guy that we thought had a home run and sent Andy Franks to the left field wall before Franks lost the ball once he met the left field wall. 2 runs came across for Oklahoma State in that inning. 4-1 the score. The 2-1. And now Witt again falling behind. Is it possible that he might have relaxed after striking out Incaviglia?
Well, it's possible, but I just think it was a good piece of hitting by an underrated ball player, Billy Smith.
Soft curve, just catching the inside portion of the plate, and it's 3-2.
And the scouting report on Smith is that his power is to right.
So Witt loses Berrigan. And Oklahoma State could have something going with 2 outs.
That pitch looked like he reared back and tried to get a little extra. Coach Ina Seymour probably saw the same thing. Looks like he tried to throw a little bit harder than he normally does. Ball got away from him.
Carlos Diaz looking at ball 1, 1-0.
Good move by the catcher because he noticed the same thing we did. He's overthrowing a little bit. And when you come back with a breaking ball and it hangs like that, 9 times out of 10, the pitcher did try to get a little bit more on it, and that's when you hang him. Good move by the catcher. Like to see that.
Jeff Kay going out to the mound to talk with his pitcher. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 gone, and a run in for Oklahoma State. Another fine job by Kay staying in front of it.
Well, I can tell you this, Tim. Witt throws so hard that's called self-defense. You just put your glove down. You don't have time to get on your knees to block a pitch like that. It's a fastball. All you can do is put your glove down, hope it hits your equipment, and stays in front of you.
Well, he kept that one in front of him, but you can tell there's something on it because it hit the heel of his glove and nearly got away, and Berrigan could have really moved up to second base that time.
Well, I've been there. I've had nights like that. I know what it's like.
Diaz gained 18 pounds during the offseason, and that has really helped him, the upper body strength from last year to this year. And he looks at ball 4.
Well, I think you're right because he hit a home run in the first game out of here in center field. He's much stronger.
And now the pitching coach of Oklahoma, Stan Meek, coming out to talk to his ace. No action as yet in the bullpen.
Well, you go with your ace, for a long, long time, especially in a big ball game like this. 2 great rivalries here going at it in Stillwater, and pitching coach is probably talking about the same thing we have. Try to stay within yourself. Don't overthrow. Regain that rhythm. You have Bobby Witt stuff. You're one of the top pitchers in college baseball. Let's show everybody what you can do. Don't try to overthrow. Stay within yourself.
Something we should mention is that both of these coaches, Ina Seymour and Gary Ward, have delegated authority within their staffs. Stan Meek is the pitching coach. Seymour pretty much stays away from Meek and lets him handle his pitching staff. Same goes for Gary Ward. He lets Tom Holliday anchor his pitching staff. And more you're seeing that occur at the collegiate baseball level.
Well, I think it definitely helped the product. We're seeing a better college product, and I think that's part of it.
Kellen Fowler looks at a low fastball, and it's 1-0.
I might add also that Coach Seymour has an outstanding staff, and he wanted me to relay that to everybody, that he hasn't done it all himself, and same with Coach Gary Ward. He also has a super staff.
He has a Holiday for a staff.
Oh, he does, doesn't he?
A couple of times over. Dave and Tom Holiday, both brothers. 2 balls and no strikes. Stan Meek is also assisted by Bill Springman and Mike Bolanger. Springman stays with the infield pretty much, and Bolanger works with the batters, and Seymour stays in constant touch with all of the facets. Sort of an overview perspective is the angle that he likes with the Sooner staff. Fastball catching the outside corner at the knees, and it's 2-1. There's the defensive setup against Fowler.
Played around a little bit to right field, expecting him to swing a little bit late on the hard throwing width. Right field is shaded a little bit to right, and also center.
Fowler fouls one off the first base side, and it's 2-2.
It is important with different pitches how you set up your defense. And these teams have meetings to go over the hitters, their tendencies, and also how they should play them in different situations, because what you were going to throw to a hitter under certain circumstances may be different than normal situations.
2-2 the count with 2 out. Barragan at second base and Carlos Diaz at first. Fowler waves for a strike 3, and that will do it. 1 run on 1 hit. No errors, and our score now 4-1 Oklahoma State. Hope you join us. Jeff Kay walked in his first time from Arcadia, California. These teams have players from all across the United States. 2 national powers, and they go with their recruiting work at the national level. They simply go wherever the best are located and find them.
Well, and it works in reverse also. The best want to go to the good programs.
Kay nearly got our home plate camera that time. The crowd oohed and awed just a bit. They were concerned that we'd lose our camera that time, I think.
We have a bunch of strong guys. Big John never quits on it.
No balls and 2 strikes. Just starting the 4th. Kay looks at a call, strike 3.
A very good pitching sequence that time. Started him off with the slow breaking ball, and then really got him off stride. He had a foul ball, and then in on him with the hard fastball. That, I'll tell you, to pitch successful at this level, you have to pitch inside to the hitters, and both these pitchers do.
That's the 4th strikeout for Trapasso. And John Toll stands in. Trapasso is really picking those corners, nibbling away. 0-1 the count. Toll may be the hardest worker on this team, according to most observers. And he got a hold of that one into left center field. That one will go off the wall. Playing to Karam in center field is DeCenzo, and it's a stand-up double. DeCenzo's great speed came in handy that time as Toll took its toll on that fastball.
Well, you mentioned what a hard worker that Toll is, and he has really improved. And last year, a super hitter. And this year, he gets a fastball to his liking, and he drills it 1 hop off the just left center field. I'd say more center field. DeCenzo, who is real quick in the outfield, tracks it down. That ball gotten by may have been a triple, but his super speed in center field held him to a double.
He got it before it hit the wall, I beg your pardon. So DeCenzo's speed even got to my naked eye. 1-0 the count. Joe Jordan flied out his first time. Interestingly, both of these clubs like to, and I think we see more and more of it now at the college level because of the designated hitters rule. The DHs and catchers usually are a shuttle bus.
Well, and it gives you a chance to rest them also. If you get catchers that catch 2 games a day, that catches up with you. In college programs, you play a lot of doubleheaders around the weekend. So You have to save their legs throughout a long season.
2 balls and no strikes, 1 out. John Toll on second base as the sign is given from Mike Day. Now, Trapasso's been flirting with trouble throughout the first 3 1/3 innings. He's gotten behind. He's gotten the double play when he needed it. And he's always been making the right pitch when he had to have it. There's another example.
Well, that's true, Tim. And he has not been wild. He's been just outside the strike zone if he misses. And from a hitter standpoint, that's the type of pitcher you want to bat against because you can dig in.
Three and 1 to Jordan. The Blanchard, Oklahoma native looks at a fastball for a strike 2 call.
Well, there you go. You mentioned how well he's come back with those pitches. Came back, was 3-0 and hit 2 pitches in a row, low on the black, both of them.
Jordan redshirted last year. They're happy to have him this season. And he was utterly fooled that time and apparently was upset about the call on the previous pitch as he barked a bit as he left home plate.
Well, I think what happened at the last second, he thought I better swing, and he was a little bit tardy. The ball was by him. The ball was outside, on the outside part of the plate, and he thought maybe it's going to be a ball. Then he decided to take a hack at it. Too late. Smart pitcher, I'll tell you. Trapasso has impressed me.
Andy Frank stands in. Frank's popped out the third his first time. There's a little chopper to Espinal. And that does it for the Sooners in the front half of the 4th. Nothing doing. No runs, 1 hit. No errors, 1 left. Our score, Oklahoma State 4, Oklahoma 1.
I refinished this beautiful piece all by myself, and I can't even change a light bulb.
This chest turned out better than I ever imagined. It looks like a professional refinished it, but I did.
Formby's furniture refinisher can make a believer out of you because it works unlike anything you've ever seen. It dissolves old varnish lacquer shellac without stripping, sanding, or scraping. With my furniture refinisher, it's a pleasure to create a treasure.
Homer Formby. No one knows wood as good.
Many stores now have special values.
The new 145 horsepower VMAX from Yamaha is like no other motorcycle you've ever seen before. But you may have noticed that.
Yeah, how about that?
Folks.
They haven't been riding side saddles so far. They're up by 3 runs. And you can tell that both of these clubs come in with so much firepower on the offensive end.
Well, it is rare indeed when you see this much authority on the offense that these 2 ball clubs have. 325 average, 328 average for Oklahoma State. Look at all those runs. 9 runs a game for Oklahoma University and 10, almost 10 a game for Oklahoma State. Boy, that is some sort of run production.
Sergio Espinal fakes the bunt and takes the strike, 0-1 to count.
Another thing that really comes into play, Bobby Witt has thrown I think that's his 75th pitch of the game. That's a lot of pitches in only 4 innings. A normal inning is anywhere from 12 to 15 pitches an inning, so you can see he is high and above the norm.
He struck out 4 and he's walked 5 so far. So he has not been as sharp as he'd like, obviously. A ball and 2 strikes here in the 4th. Espinal looks at that fastball, and the count is even at 2-2. Espinal began really having some problems making the throw. He was a shortstop originally. They moved him over to second. Whistler then moved over to shortstop, and that's really been the only problem spot in his overall game, is making that throw, especially off the double play.
Well, he's a product of the system, of the Gary Ward system here. he has really improved since he's been here at Oklahoma State. It's nice to see.
The count is full. And he just got a piece of that one. That was a defensive swing, but one that will keep him in there. The line score, 4 runs, 4 hits, and no errors for the Cowboys. 1-1-0 for Oklahoma. And Espinal is aboard.
Funny, he went to the breaking ball 3-2 against the 9th place hitter. What does that tell you, Tim?
Tells you that the 9th place hitter is batting .438.
That's exactly right. And the confidence he has in that breaking ball there.
How many times do you run across a 9th place hitter that's hitting .438? I've
Well,
never seen that.
Tonight.
Usually the numbers are sometimes not indicative of the overall play at the collegiate level, and Gary Ward would be the first to tell you that, but certainly that is not the case where Espinal is concerned. Doug DeCenzo is up, looking for the sacrifice. He fouled it back, and it's 0-1.
Well, I'm not sure. That was not exactly the sacrifice. That was a half sacrifice, bunting for a base hit. Now what happens? Pressure on the defense. You have a fast runner at first, a fast runner at home. Who's going to be covering in this play if he lays it down? The second baseman's got to get to first. The shortstop get over to second base.
DeCenzo 0 for 1, walked his last time. Espinal gave a move as if he might have been going, but did not. He bluffed.
Now what will happen in a steal situation like this? The shortstop and second baseman have a simple sign, and I think most teams use the same one. The shortstop or the second baseman will put their glove right by their head, and they'll open their mouth, or they'll keep their mouth closed. And if it's closed, it might mean, hey, you're covering. If it's open, it might mean I'm covering the base. Simple signs that you've seen throughout pro ball and college baseball.
Espinal just with a modest lead at first base, but enough of one to warrant the respect of Bobby Witt. Now this is the area now with your guy Espinal aboard, who himself has 14 stolen bases. Gary Ward has a chance to manage here.
Well, you can't manage the fellow with the bat in his hands. That was a pitch that bounced up. 2 strikes and no balls. It was out of the strike zone. And Doug DeCenzo, who is usually a good, smart hitter, really went for a bad pitch.
Gary Ward displeased.
Yeah, that's his displeased look. There's no doubt about that.
One out, and Mike Day at the plate. A guy that can push runners across, and Espinal is going, and he'll be in and in safely. And he'll take the extra base on the throw that gets away from John Toll at second base. Here's the vantage point of John Toll now as he watches this throw coming from Jeff Kay.
Well, Kay really didn't come out of the chute that time, and he makes a bad throw. Now the second baseman Toll gets over, the ball bounces down, it gets through him. See, now he was down on one knee, and it looked like he may have been able to stop the ball, but it got into center field. That will be an error on the catcher, but Toll was over there plenty of time. Take a look at the percentage of would-be base stealers. I was watching Kay that time as he received the ball. He waited on the ball instead of going out and getting it, and he was a little bit slow with his release.
Now with Whistler at the plate and a 2-0 count and a runner at third. He looks at a strike. I was about to say it'd be interesting to see what Gary Ward might opt to do with the left-hand hitter up there, and he just showed us what he had in mind, at least to a certain extent.
Well, I think this is a hitter's dream, especially a fellow like Whistler who lays the bat on the ball, and you look at the infield in tight. You want the man swinging away.
The 2-1 pitch. Witt is having his problems. He struck out 6, yes, but he's also walked 5. 3 balls and a strike with 1 out. Good speed and Espinal at third base. Whistler unhappy with his swing there.
Well, his best pitch so far in this ball game has been the slider out of the strike zone. He struck out DeCenzo on a 2-strike, no-ball pitch that actually bounced up. 3-1 pitch, so you know when he's behind the pitch that he's going to.
On deck is Mike Day. Always a good RBI man. Whistler with the same pitch.
Same pitch. Yes, he sure was. I tell you, that shows you the confidence he has in that breaking ball. Two hitters, really, that usually lay the bat on the ball. Completely fooled.
Mike Day, 0 for 2, coming to the plate here. Grounded out his last time. But again, a very good hitter with men in scoring position. He has been right with Incaviglia, just behind him in RBIs year in and year out. He takes a strike on the inside portion of the plate.
Well, he had to notice the sliders that he threw to the batter in front of him. He was probably looking breaking ball that time. Whit Foolding came in with a fastball.
There's a little chopper to edge, and McGinnis will take it, and that'll do it. No runs with a hit, 1 error, 1 left. At the end of 4 1/2, it's 4-1 Oklahoma State. Taking his time, and Pearson stepping out. Tim Brando and Jim Price with you. Will again join you next week. Again, as we mentioned earlier, Arizona and Arizona State as college baseball continues here on your Total Sports Network. As we gather momentum towards Omaha. Trapasso's let up, missing inside, and it's 2-1. Trapasso throws that off-speed pitch and almost always follows that with the hard one. It's 2-2 now.
Tim, I'm getting the impression he likes to pitch from behind. He really can spot his pitches when he's behind in the count.
Day held that one up a long time along the outside portion of the plate. He wanted to call strike 3. 3-2 the count to Kevin Pearson, the right fielder. Pops this one up into shallow center. Drifting back is the shortstop Randy Whistler, and he'll make the catch.
You know, you can't always notice on your TV sets at home, or we can in our monitors, but a pitcher like Trapasso is always changing speeds. That was a pop-up to center field, and it was a fastball, but he took a little bit off the fastball. The hitter was just out in front that much.
The shortstop, Greg Edge. 0 for 2. Flat out, grounded out. In fact, hit into that key double play in his last at-bat. Snuffed out what could have been a big rally for Oklahoma in that inning. Trapasso had his problems. He's not having them here, though. 0-2 the count with 1 gone. Espinal will handle this one. Sergio Espinal with a putout. He's the guy that had the problem with the throw, as we told you earlier.
Well, it's just a routine ground ball, but he gets it's an easy play at first base, and he takes it right back to his ear and throws the ball. Now that time he did it right, but Coach Gary Ward was telling us the other night that he had that hitch and he had that long throw, but there he did it the correct way. I tell you, the thing that Trapasso has created here, he's got the Oklahoma Sooner hitters guessing and getting them off stride.
Scott Ferguson with the count now out to 2-0. Ferguson walked in his last at bat, struck out the first time. He's 0-1 for the night. Very selective hitter, usually leads the club in walks. Soft one again. Boy, it looked like a watermelon coming up there to Ferguson. He wanted to reach over the plate, but he finally chose not to.
Well, he had an easy inning going. Got the first 2 hitters out pretty easy. Now he's falling behind in the count again.
And on 4 pitches, Ferguson's on.
Pitchers are funny to figure out, Tim. They can go along so easily. The first 2 hitters, an easy pop-up, an easy ground ball, then 4 straight balls. You can't figure it out sometimes.
Defensive setup now shading Jim Richardson towards right, especially in center field, as Doug DeCenzo moving over into right center field. We should mention the dimensions here. It's 330 down the right and left field lines, and then out in the power alleys out to 375 and 390 to straight center field.
Well, and this batter up there right now, Richardson, has been a clutch hitter. He's the man you want up in a tough situation. Switch hitter, leading the team with RBIs.
Jim Richardson transferred from Seminole Junior College, where he had 16 home runs. That's something else we've seen a lot. The great teams have also gone the junior college route to shore up areas, especially when teams have been hurt by the draft. And that's been the case with both of these clubs. You look at Oklahoma State, they lost 5 pitchers. And so much of their overall problems this year has been in starting pitching, and you got to believe that the Major League Draft had a great deal to do with that.
Well, there's no doubt about it. Those 5 pitchers they lost last year pitched 80 to 85% of the innings. Now, they have some good arms in this team at Oklahoma State, but they aren't proven yet. They haven't pitched under these tough Big 8 conditions, so they've got to grow up in a hurry.
Now, the players and coaches are unaware of their roles at this point, especially from the pitching aspect of the game. The count is now out to 2-2 to Jim Richardson. Big, strapping, 6 foot, 185-pound junior from Marlow, Oklahoma. There's a foul out of play along the first base side. Four runs, 4 hits, and no errors for Oklahoma State. 1 run on just 1 hit for Oklahoma. After pounding out 20-run runs earlier today, setting a school record in the first of this day-night doubleheader in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Strike 3 call. Perfect pitch by Trapasso, and is he pumped up? Nothing across. No hits. 1 left. And at the end of 4 1/2, it's now 4-1 Oklahoma State.
If you own a house, you gotta own a shop vac. This baby's got the power to pick up almost anything.
Got broken glass, nails, or wood chips? Shop vac gobbles up stuff that would kill an ordinary vacuum. And a shop vac wet dry can even vacuum water like a flooded basement. The washing machine is flooding the house.
Third round coverage in Sunday, April 7th for the final round of the PGA Greater Greensboro Open from Forest Oaks Country Club in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Right, when he swings, he puts a big breeze right through this ballpark, I'll tell you.
In Cavilla with a little clinic on the first pitch given by Witt, so Witt having fanned him the last time. They're even Steven now, as Incaviglia gets the base hit and is aboard at first base.
Look at a compact swing. Look where his elbows are, up and high, the bat close to his body. The ball was down. He went down and got it and drilled it into left field. One of the reasons he is a fine hitter.
Smith at the plate. Billy Smith. Smith with the home run in his last at bat, a solo shot to give Oklahoma State its 4th run. They now have a 3-run lead here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. There's the bunt. Incaviglia will be safe. The Oklahoma State fans love it. Perhaps a little bad judgment that time by Witt, or perhaps he really didn't receive word from his fellow players on where to go, because it was obvious Incaviglia would be safe at second base here.
Well, it was just a bad play. The ball was bowled right in front of the plate, and Witt got the ball, made a bad throw to second. He would not have had Incaviglia anyway. Like you said, it's the catcher's part to signal to the pitcher, let him know where he should throw the ball. But that was the bunt was good enough where he should know that he wasn't able to get the runner at second base. Here we take another look at it. Right back to Witt. He gets in plenty of time. Watch how high he draws his arm to throw, then makes a bad throw right into the ground at second base. Incaviglia came in hard and hit the second baseman, or hit the shortstop, I should say. And now the trainer and Coach Seymour is out taking a look at him at right out in short center field.
That's Greg Edge, the shortstop. Well, Incaviglia just did what he knew he had to do to be safe.
Well, you've got to play hard, go in hard and clean. That's what it's all about, and Pete did that.
And now Jimmy Berrigan with a double and a walk and a couple of RBIs coming up for the Cowboys as Enos Seymour and company make their way back to the dugout after taking a good long look at Greg Edge.
Tim, I think it's very important for the youngsters watching out there. In a situation like that, if you don't have a play at second base, get the one out anyway at first base. Try to stay out of the big inning. Concede. You made a fine bunt. You got the man to second base. Get the sure out at first base.
Gary Ward had a great line about the guy standing in. Berrigan, he said, this guy is arrogant at the plate, and I like that as a coach.
Well, and Gary liked that too, because they don't take any prisoners here at Oklahoma State. They play hard.
That's Incaviglia at second base. And over at first base, Billy Smith. Modest lead for both of the runners. Our score 4-1. No one out here in the bottom of the fifth. Now Witt is really struggling, and Rusty McGinnis will come over to chat with him.
Well, he's thrown over 100 pitches, and he's just not in his rhythm. I know we talk about it a lot, but I've seen him throughout the game try to overthrow, go to his breaking ball a lot, and he's lost it once again.
Enos Seymour, and now in his 18th year. Berrigan with a good swing at the curveball, missing it, and it's 2-1. Seymour had a great line. I called his wife last night. I wanted to chat with him a bit on the phone, and I asked her if I could speak with Coach Seymour, and she said, well, not right now. He's gone out for the moment. I said, well, can you tell him when he comes in? I'd like to speak with him. She says, yes, as soon as he gets through feeding the horses, he'll call you back.
Well, what? That's Oklahoma.
Right away, I knew I was in Big 8 country. 2-2 the count. The defensive setup again shading towards the opposite way for Berrigan, the left-hand hitter.
Playing a little shallow in left field, but deep in center and right.
Berrigan wasn't about to go for that stuff. He had seen Whistler strike out on the same pitch.
May have used that one too many times, because I think everybody was looking for the all-speed breaking ball that time. He laid off of it.
You got to believe Bobby Witt has thrown far more pitches tonight than he's used to throwing during the course of the year, at least to this point. Berrigan just with a piece of that one, fouling it away, and it's 3-2.
Coach Gary Ward gives the signs at third base. Remember, there isn't a sign on until you get the key. He may give a lot of signals down there, but until he gives the key that alerts the batter that the next sign I give, there's something on.
Gary Ward has his game face on tonight. He's all business. Berrigan takes the ball, and that'll load him up.
Load him up with nobody out. This ball game 4-1. Oklahoma still in it, but a big base hit here, and the Sooners could be in trouble.
We do have some action now in the Oklahoma bullpen. It's Scott Hamilton up, a right-hander. There's Hamilton.
Now, we talked about how technical Coach Gary Ward is. One of his hitting philosophies, or part of it, is to extend the count. Make the pitcher throw a lot of pitches. Boy, this is perfect tonight. Perfect for Coach Gary Ward.
Carlos Diaz walked his last time. Check swing foul down the first base side, and it's 0-1. Diaz, as we mentioned, a product of manufactured athletics, a guy that was weak in the upper body last year and now has made himself a stronger athlete. And that has certainly helped him. And today was a great example as he got a 2-run shot against Peters, the left-hander for Oklahoma, who had a good outing in game 1 today. Diaz saws that one off into short right field. It's taken by Kevin Pearson, and there's one away. The runners don't advance. Bases still loaded with 1 gone.
Well, I think that was a smart play by Coach Gary Ward, holding up the runner at third base because the ball was not hit that deep. Why give him two for 1? Admit, hey, the ball wasn't hit far enough. We can't score a run. That's only 1 out. We have 2 more chances.
Kevin Fowler, looking for his first hit of the evening, steps in. Fowler's had some defensive deficiencies this year. He's been trying to work on that aspect of his game. But his hitting has been right on cue. He's batting .291 coming in tonight.
And he's not thinking defense right now. He's hitting the ball in the outfield, get another run in, sacrifice fly.
Both of these coaches and both of these teams, as you see, we're here in the 5th, cannot get enough runs. That has to be their philosophy, with both clubs averaging over 325 at the plate.
Fowler got a hold of that one. Way back, it's gone.
Well, what can you say? Bobby Witt knew it was gone. All these Oklahoma State fans knew it was gone. And the young man that hit it, Fowler, knew it was gone. The minute he hit it, he raised his arm halfway down the first baseline. A grand slam, home run, bases loaded, out of here.
Is that what it's about?
That's what it's all about. College baseball at its finest. Happy bunch of Oklahoma State Cowboys. Fastball out over the plate. The catcher sets up inside, but the ball will be out over the plate. He can extend his arms. You see how he extended his arms, and he got out of it over the right part of center field, no doubt about it.
Sergio Espinal now comes up. It's 0-1 as he took a strike. Fooled that time for strike 2. Witt had given up 6 walks, then a 7th here in this inning. And finally, the bases on balls caught up to him. And it was with the bases jammed, Kevin Fowler got a hold of one.
Oh, that was a breaking ball. He got away from him a little bit. If he gets out of this inning, I would not be surprised to see a reliever come in because he's thrown over 110 pitches. The score is 8-1. He'll be back.
And it's cooling off. You don't want one of your pitchers to get stiff out there, especially when he's down 7 runs. This is a guy, Bobby Witt, who has not been at his best tonight, but certainly a guy that will be worth millions should he remain healthy by the time he goes pro. And there's strike 3 call. Scott Hamilton still warming up along the left field line in the Sooner bullpen.
I'm not sure he'll be worth millions when he signs Tim, but he certainly will be a #1 draft pick. And the premium on Major League pitching, maybe in a few years he'll be worth millions because he certainly has that type of arm.
Well, certainly he'll have the opportunity to make almost that many should he remain in the bigs for a while. DeCenzo lines out to second base. John Toll in position for the out. 4 big runs on 2 hits. And here's Witt in frustration as the homer is hit by Fowler with the bases jammed. Our score now 8-1 Oklahoma State.
You know what I don't like about dandruff? Dandruff shampoos.
And Rafael Palmeiro with that fine Bulldog club, and Skip Bertman has a great pitcher, and Eric Hetzel. Everyone's talking about it. What is baseball without popcorn, Jim Price?
I wish we had some. Skip Bertman, fine pitching coach for Coach Ron Fraser down at the University of Miami. You knew he was going to be a good head coach. Skip, an old buddy of mine. Nice job.
There are really, out of the top 20 or 30 teams, just a few surprise clubs that haven't been there of late.
Well, and I think the other thing that's very impressive, Tim, is all across the country now, you're seeing these fine programs from as far away as Maine, Arizona, California, Michigan. You just see them all over the country now. That is really enlightening for us to see.
Rusty McGinnis grounds that one to Whistler, and Berrigan will get the put out, and there's one gone. I mentioned about 3 surprise teams. You'd have to say LSU, although Bertman is certainly renowned, they're a surprise club. They haven't been in the top 20s until this year. Georgia Tech is another ball club. Arkansas has made a move. All of those teams now suddenly in the center ring of college baseball.
Yes, there's no doubt about it. Quality programs all over the country. Nice to see, too, Tim. Really is. Nothing like the college atmosphere.
Jeff Kay at the plate now.
Well, that Grand Slam home run may have pumped up Trapasso a little bit.
We're in the top half of the 6th inning. These are usually the innings 5, 6, and 7 where a starting pitcher lets you know whether or not he can go the distance.
Well, to me, Trapasso has gotten stronger. He has gotten more confident, I think, as the game goes on. And when you have a 7-run lead, that helps.
Chopped to third. Fowler. Nice maneuver there by Berrigan at first, going to the back half of the base pad for the putout, and there are 2 away.
Well, that was a long throw from Fowler at third base, and it was up the line, just off the bag a little bit, and this young first baseman danced a little bit, moved around. Good footwork by the youngster.
2 down, and John Toll, who is 1 for 2, comes up. Well, this is just the kind of inning Gary Ward ordered after the 4-run outburst. 2 up and 2 down.
And they haven't had a lot of these innings this year going into this ball game.
They really haven't.
And, you know, going into tonight's game with Oklahoma, with their ace going, you know, they had everything on their side.
One and one the count. And Trapasso really picking his spots right now. Last year, John Toll was 15 for 32 at the plate.
Well, that was that breaking pitch that we've been talking so much about. Really has the hitters off stride.
And to finish that statement, Toll 15 for 32 in the Big 8 tournament and then in the NCAA. So during the postseason, he hit a house of fire. If you're a coach, you want your guys to get hot about tournament time.
Not a bad idea.
Two balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs in the top of the 6th. That's a base hit into left field. Toll got his pitch, patiently waited for it, and drove it into left.
Well, he just can't seem. He gets the first 2 hitters out again in this inning quite easily, and then the third batter up gets on base. The last inning, he got the first 2 men out, then he walked the batter. So he's having trouble getting that easy inning up there.
Joe Jordan struck out his last time, 0 for 2 tonight. Interestingly, Jordan was the catcher for the assistant coach, Mike Bolanger, at Oklahoma City back in '83. We mentioned he redshirted in '84 as he made the transfer over. Now Bolanger on the staff of Enos Seymour. So you got to figure you're going to get playing time if you're the battery mate of one of the coaches.
Yeah, borderline pitch. This time it was called a ball. That same pitch has been called a strike.
1-1 the count.
And what you want from umpires is consistency. That's what you really look for. There's no doubt about it. That was just a little bit low. You can't expect the umpires to be perfect, but from a player standpoint, if they're consistent, then you have an idea really how you can approach their particular situation, especially the umpire behind the plate.
2 balls and a strike the count with 2 gone. And Trapasso, the St. Louis native, deals what could be a long ball that may get out of here. It's not, though. It's grabbed by Echeverria at the wall. A big hit, but an even bigger catch. Nothing across with a hit. Our score through 5, 8-1.
For happy pitchers. Trapasso. 3rd out. Way to do it, Pete.
He's saying, you see that pitch? High fives abound. We're in the bottom half of the 6th inning now, and Randy Whistler stands in for Oklahoma State. Struck out his last time.
And Witt still in the ball game.
Whistler, the shortstop, at the plate with 1 home run and 26 RBIs on the year.
127 pitches now for this young, hard-throwing right-hander.
Are you surprised he's still in the game? I know last inning you mentioned you thought he'd go.
I'm somewhat surprised, no doubt about that. Of course, Coach Seymour, he's the coach. He knows what he's doing.
That one knocked just over the pitcher's mound. Edge cannot make the play. An infield single for Whistler.
Well, the only play that was going to be made on this one to get the runner at first base was by Bobby Witt. It was a chopper, and if he could have gotten the ball, he would have gotten the runner at first base. But once it got over his head, Edge, was no way was he going to be able to make the play. Witt can't get it. Edge comes in, a do-or-die situation. Even if he comes up with the ball, Whistler's safe at first base.
Mike Day now at the plate. One and 0 the count, and Echeverria holding his lead right now.
Lead pipe probably weighs 100 pounds. Looks like a toothpick in his palm.
Great upper body strength and those large wrists. Whistler is on his way. The hit and run on. Fouled away, and it's a 1-1 count. No one gone. We're in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Tim Brando and Jim Price with you here on ESPN. My first opportunity to work with you, Jim. I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, thank you. It's been fun for me. Always fun for me during college baseball. Nice to see you young Baton Rouge boys up here. Baton Rouge, right? Is that right,
That's
Tim?
right. That's French for red stick, and we've seen guys swinging the big sticks here tonight. Day looks at a ball. 2 balls and 1 strike to count.
See if Coach Gary Ward has something on here. Good position for his hitter. Head in the count.
Gary Ward with that ever-active oral cavity. Sending signals, and it's fouled away.
This was a good bluff by Whistler, like he was going to second base. A lot of times when one of the players see that, they'll yell, "There he goes," and the catcher will come out of that chute like he's gone to second base. I've done it.
The 2-2. So the count has run full now today. Day on the average, 253. He has driven in 23 runs.
He's a better hitter than that, too. He'll get going.
But is just magnificent at moving runners up. Whistler on the move again, and a high pop into shallow left field. Andy Franks will gather it in. And Whistler goes back to first, so we have 1 down.
Fans, as Pete Echeverria comes up to the plate, start yelling, "Pete, Pete." He's given them many a thrill here at Ali Reynolds Stadium.
He singled his last time. 1 for 2 on the night. Struck out earlier. This was the great battle we talked about at the outset. Power versus power. Witt against Incaviglia. And while the score might be 8-1, you got to believe the egos for both of these true stars are taking its toll here.
Well, there's no doubt about it. And Pete was jumping on the first pitch. He was looking for the fastball, but he went after one that bounced up. A little over anxious. Still over anxious.
Oh, 0-2 the count. We should remember that Witt struck out 17 Texas Longhorns earlier in the week, and what a week for him to go up against an arch rival in Texas, then come back and pitch against another arch rival in Oklahoma State and on national television. A lot of pressure on him without a great deal of rest coming into this game. He went the distance, of course, in that win against the Longhorns.
Not to take anything away from the Cowboys, but Witt, undoubtedly one of the top 1 or 2 prospects in the country, especially maybe the #1 pitching prospect. They feel he'll be the first fellow to go next year, so not sure you're seeing the normal Bobby Witt on the mound tonight, even though Oklahoma State does have that strong hitting lineup, but still, to strike out 17 Longhorns like he did, this young man must be able to do it.
The pros were hoping to get Witt last year, but they couldn't. He was not eligible for the draft. Now, of course, after this season, he'll be eligible and undoubtedly will sign because the mega bucks will be offered.
Well, that time what happened is Incaviglia hit the ball off the end of the bat. There's a rubber insert on the end of the bat that can come out, and apparently he must have either cracked the bat down at the end, but I was watching Coach Gary Ward fiddling with that rubber insert. Maybe he tore that a little bit, or maybe it was coming loose, but he chalked him up a little bit. Now he goes and gets another piece of aluminum, Tim.
Now that brings to mind, how many times do you see a guy have a faulty piece of aluminum?
Well, this young man has hit 65 home runs in just 2+ seasons. When I say plus, they just started the Big 8 schedule. They had their trip south and so forth, so they're just getting into their main schedule right now.
Oklahoma State coming in with a record of 20-7. Whistler on the move, and Incaviglia strikes out.
Now, he went after 3 bad pitches, and Whistler had a jump that nobody could have thrown out at second base. He stole that pitch on the that base on the pitcher. Once again, Incaviglia goes for another bad pitch. By that time, Whistler was on second base with an easy stolen base.
Billy Smith with one of the 2 home runs hit by the Cowboys tonight coming up. His homer coming back in the 3rd. Got aboard the last time with a single, so he's 2 for 2. Won the count. That's Randy Whistler at second base. Good speed there. So any base hit would easily score it. 1-1 now the count. Smith, the junior from San Jose, California, prepped at Bellarmine High School, drafted one of many that have been. Chop to third. The throw is wild, and they're safe everywhere. Jim Richardson's throw pulled McGinnis off the bag, and so now there are runners at the corners with 2 gone. So Witt should have been out of this inning.
Well, that's right. Not only has he had a tough night with his control tonight, but a couple key errors have hurt him. There, just a routine ground ball to third. Bad throw to first base. They still have something going, the Cowboys.
Jim Berrigan, who's had a productive night. He looks at the strike, 2-1. Berrigan's older brother played shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles. That one gets away, and Smith is able to move up to second base. So now runners at second and third. Smith at second and Whistler at third. and our score is 8-1. And you know that the Sooners would like to snuff out a potential Oklahoma State rally right here. 2-1 to count, and Diaz is on deck. Now, even though you're down by 7 runs, you do now have a base open. If you're Witt, do you even think about that, Jim?
Well, probably not in this situation. Down, as you said, by 7.
Carlos Diaz would be next. Should Berrigan get on. 8-1 Cowboys. We're in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Tim Brandt, Jim Price with you. We're happy you joined us. Strike 3 call on the curveball. And we're through.
6 innings of play, and our score now, Oklahoma State 8.
And Oklahoma 1.
Coming up, the Oklahoma Sooners as we start this. There's a look at Gary Ward, the head coach of the Cowboys. He won the Big 8 title in his first year here in 1978. Has won 4 total. In fact, these two teams, both Ward's and his counterpart,
E.F. Seymour have won.
And have won 15 of the last 19
Big 8 championship.
Now,
If that's not domination,
I don't
know what is. Well, Coach Seymour
One is much to have his
says Bobby Witt have a
good outing tonight, because everybody's
heard so much about him. Just wasn't to be.
Andy